Let's give a big warm welcome to Anabel Vizcarra.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for making it out here today. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to present to you kind of going a little bit deeper into what we've been talking about all this morning. But before we do that, I really would like to reset. So if you can do that with me, I'd appreciate that. So if you can close your eyes and just take a deep breath into your bellies and just sigh it out. Do that 2 more times. And 1 more. Thank you. And I want to go back to the question that we were asked for before we left. When blank happens, the world will change. So did you forget about the question? Okay, good. I'd like to hear maybe a couple of you what you came up with because yes, Martin, you gotta be loud. I can't hear you up here. When the world, okay, when we open our hearts, okay. I'm sorry, when we change, when change happens, the world will change. Okay, who else? Conscious. When consciousness happens, the world will change. Just yell it out because okay. But if you could do that in one word. So when blank happens, the world will change. Rebecca? Love, okay. Heartbreak? Awareness, okay. I like where this is going. Connection, that's beautiful. Surrender, clean up. Wow, you guys already know everything. That's it. Okay, let's go. So this question is really important because I feel like, we've been hearing all this morning about what is happening in the world, and we are really in a special time. We were born into a special time of this renaissance that is happening for humanity. And it's happening in a way where we are going from the material plane into really asking the questions that allow us to figure out what is this material plane made of. And of course, that's energy, consciousness, right? And today, what I want to invite you into is that word that you came up with this question. I want you to see how can you implement that in your own life to change your own world? Because each of us are a planet in ourselves. And when our planets are unhealthy, everything's unhealthy around us. And so when we, for example, for me, when happens, the world will change. For me, it's when women embody themselves, the world will change. Why? Because I believe that we will birth new paradigms of society. We will raise children in a different way. We will love our men in a different way that supports things that are not available now. That's my own personal one. So my question was, so how do I do that? How do I become that? Because it's very easy to put what we need to shift onto someone else. We do it all the time. I do it to my partner all the time. I do it to my kid all the time, right? Of that, if you didn't do that, I wouldn't do that. If you listened to me, then I wouldn't have to get upset. And so there's this consistent theme of blame out into the world. And what the world is showing us right now with everything that is happening is how sick our souls have become as well, how sick our society has become as well, because we have forgotten what is actually important and valuable to live fulfilled lives. We have forgotten how to connect, how to create intimacy. We have forgotten how to be honest about what we want. we have disconnected from the values that allow us to really show up in the world and create change, create different power strategies into how we're going to live. So today I am going to be looking at my notes because I want to stay on theme and not run off into something else. But what I want to talk to you is the embodiment. What is that? You know, we hear it a lot, and it's an aspect of when we become embodied humans, we're allowed to be in the present. We give ourselves the space to come into the now and not be living from the past or in the future. And for many of us, that's the challenge itself, because when we are living from the past, we are carrying wounds that happened, things that happened to us, regrets, stuff that we have not forgiven. You know, situations that happen to us are still happening to us in the present. And so when we are here, we're really replaying, reacting these old scenarios. When we are in the future, we're living in anxiety, not knowing what's going to happen, in fear of what's going to happen to our businesses, what's going to happen in our homes, what's going to happen in our bank account. And when we're living from that place, we're not able to create what is true, authentic, and sustainable. And so this is why we have to come into a middle point of being able to have the strength, the knowledge, and the awareness to hold both tension, to hold both ends of that, to be able to hold the wisdom of the past and the possibility and potential of the future, but creating it in the now. And this is how we are able to birth forth our new projects, our books, our lives in a way that is sustainable and that also includes everyone else around us. Now, I believe that we have this beautiful power that is unique to humans, and that is the power of choice. And I believe that choice is so powerful that we create realities from the choices that we make. When we're constantly making choices, yet most of the time they're unaware choices, they're unconscious choices. And when we really step into a place where we can make the choice from an informed space, that choice begins to create a whole new reality for you. And this is where we create our reality. So if we look around right now, we have created the reality. What Francisco was speaking of, what our homes reflect, what our businesses reflect, we have co-created that. There has been circumstances and people that have helped us along the way to create whatever dramas and messes we have. But ultimately, you are the creator of that. You are co-creating consistently and constantly. The invitation of the embodiment process is to be able to clear out the dissonance that is in the body that has been imprinted. There's two ways that we've been imprinted into limitation and lack and struggle. One has been inherited. So this is lineage work. You know, just like we inherited brown eyes or nose or hair, we have inherited energetic imprints from our family, our lineage. And so we have that imprinted in us. And then we grow up in a culture and a society that tells you who you need to be, that constantly shows you this is what you need to be if you want to have power, if you want to do well, if you want to be loved, this is what you have to do or be. And so we never really get a chance to explore, who am I authentically? Who am I beneath the noise of image, beneath the noise of my parents, beneath the noise of all that external noise? Who am I? What am I here for? And so when we get on this embodiment journey, those are the questions that allow us to turn inside into ourselves and to begin an exploration journey back home. Back home simply means back into our original innocence, our blueprint of creation, our ability to create consciously. I work with a lot of people, amazing women and men, and one of the things that we are constantly looking at is the way in which we hold all these beliefs that we don't even know we have because they're so automatic, right? And so this lives in our imprinting, in our unconscious, and in our subconscious. We are only 5% conscious. The rest of that is on autopilot. In order for us to really be able to become vessels for that divine light of creation to come through, we must clean up the spaces in us that are too busy, too heavy, and that are sucking up our life force. And when we do that, that's when we are digesting the material of our old experiences. That's when we're digesting all of the stuff that perhaps was inherited. You know that most of the stuff that you struggle with is probably not even your own. It was probably your mother's or your father's. It's somewhere in your lineage. But because no one resolved that, no one digested that, no one dissolved it, you get to step up and now bring that forth. The beauty of that is that in this work and through a field called epigenetics, and if you really want to know what your vessel is capable of, I highly suggest this book, The Biology of Belief. I studied with Bruce Lipton, who pioneered epigenetics, and that's the energetic makeup of our genes. And what he pioneered into now, what is the science of epigenetics, is that we are not victims of our genetics. Our environment can shape and shift our genes. And so, although we have been inherited these things, the environment allows us to be able to make a conscious decision to change that. And all that is a choice. It's a choice to say, I am no longer going to live in this limited state of being. Because right now, like I said, we are really in a special time where all of these other structures, all of these things, reality as we know it has changed. And if any of you are waiting for get back to normal kind of thing, we're not getting back to normal. Because first of all, it wasn't normal. And second of all, we are now at an opportunity to create something out of this. For those of you who are mothers, you know that when we give birth, we have the pangs, we have the pain, the contractions, but through that, we birth life. And that's exactly what's happening in our planet right now. We are going through a great rebirth of humanity. And we have a choice to step into this amazing magic, really, but really it's not even, it's a consciousness. It's a state of being. And this is quantum physics. It's physics. It's not even a spiritual philosophy, although all these spiritual philosophies really, really support what we are navigating right now these times. And so consciousness is life force. And when we let go of the smallness that we are and we begin to have an awareness that expand us, we begin to embrace what is actually possible for us. How many of you have a limitation or something that if you didn't have that, you'd be in a much better position, or you'd be able to do things you can't do right now, or you've been wanting to do? How many of you? Just in a raise of hands. So with that, knowing that specific challenge that you have is what's actually going to unlock the next version of you. Because you were made to create. We were all brought here to create. Just like we have fingerprints, we have a soul print that is unique to each of us. And that soul print wants to be expressed. The body wants to heal. Our system is constantly wanting to move towards harmony, but we're the ones in the way because we have mental constructs that don't allow us to see the greater vision. We have self-sabotage patterns. In the morning, where's Megan? Megan said she doesn't want to be seen. She hides. She has a mechanism to hide. I wonder why. There's probably that something Megan holds that is actually crucial in these times and needs to be seen, because God's light always wants to be seen. It never wants to be hidden. But if Megan allows herself to go into that process, she will start to realize that purpose and that genius that is in her is hiding behind that particular challenge. So all of our challenges that we have are actually doorways into our genius, into your specific gift. Every challenge. Before you came here, your soul knew. Okay, I'm going to get a little soul. Okay, so before you came here, your soul knew what it was embarking on. Our humanity forgot. But our soul knew. It knew exactly the challenges you were going to have. It knew exactly the place you were going to be born in. It knew everything, your destiny. And when we came into our human form, because of the density, we forget. And now the journey is to remember that mission and be able to express it. All those challenges, what they are shaping you to become available and to awaken into what it is that you are here to create. So those things that you want to get rid of are actually the necessary things that are going to help you blossom. Because what is, for me, I will say this for myself, for me, the greatest thing that I can achieve in my life is to be able to empower others through my own empowerment. And the way I'm going to do that is I am going to look at all the things that I've been challenged with, all the regrets I hold, all that. And when I begin to work that process, it begins to refine me so that I become available for that light to be able to move easier through me, to be able to inform my cells, because we are a community of a lot of cells. I don't know how many, what are we up to, 37 something trillion of cells that we're made of. And that in itself, can you imagine that you are this planet of cells? You are this king or queen of this queendom. And your conscious choices rule over your planet, over your queendom, over your kingdom. They inform every department what they need to be doing. And in order for us to really know what that is, we have to get really clear about what our values are. What are the values that are leading our lives? Because most of us think we know what our values are, but most of the time they're ego-driven, they're societal-driven. They were determined by others. But what are your core values? What is your soul hungry, like Francisco said, hungry to express? Because until you tap into that, you're gonna be hungry. The soul doesn't care about these material things. This is for us to enjoy as our human aspect, to take part in this great bounty. But below that, beneath that, when we're quiet, when we're alone, when we're in our own beds, when we're in those moments where nothing else matters, what wants to be expressed is that soul essence. That's what really brings fulfillment. That's what allows us to become available for others, to be in relationships that are fruitful, to be a parent that is raising a loving heart, a healthy, emotionally intelligent child, because we are doing that. And embodiment means you go first. you step into the responsibility that it is to be a human. And that sounds like too much for some, but I know that that's not too much for you because you're here today. And you're here looking, whether you know it or not, how do I strengthen the ability to respond to life? How do I strengthen the ability to respond to that inner higher calling that is going to allow me to feel fully expressed? And with that is such a, for me now, I grew up with a lot of responsibility, and we all have different stories of how God and Creator is shaping us to be who we are meant to be. For me, it was responsibility was a thing. So, my early mid-20s, I was like, I do not want to be responsible for anything. I kind of went on the other end of that, not wanting any responsibility, until I learned that actually that ability to respond to life is what gives me power to make the right choices for me, for my family, and for my community. And so what I began to do was really strengthen that ability to respond. And how did I do that? I had to look at all the places where I was not in alignment with what I believe love to be. So maybe tonight, that's something that you do. Ask yourself, if my life was in full alignment, what would I not be engaging in? Who would I not be engaging that I still am? Because every time that we make a choice that doesn't honor our soul alignment, we are betraying ourselves. And this is what creates lack of self-confidence, lack of self-trust. We don't know what is fear, what is intuition, because we don't trust ourselves to make those choices because of the many times we have betrayed ourselves. And so that ability to forgive what we didn't know and to open up to what is possible now allows us to start to really cultivate that ability to be present with the challenges, to grow that bandwidth, to become available for greater things, become a vessel for greater creations to come forth. And as well as be able to, who said connection? Mauricio, correct? Connection. We think that we connect, but when our hearts have walls, we're not able to connect. We can only see the presentation, but no presence. And when we become embodied, we come into the body, we inhabit the flesh, and instead of running away and disassociating because it's so uncomfortable, we invite spirit into our bodies. Whether you call that divine intelligence, God, spirit, for me, I allow that godliness to infuse my flesh, to come into my body, to inform me, to give me the orientation, because all of us have an orientation that's already set for you. What we don't have is the skill to listen to it, the courage to listen to it, and the follow-through to do it. And the reason we don't have that is because we have so much unresolved material floating around us that we don't know what is true and what is not. And so on the path of embodiment, that is what we're inviting you to do. We're inviting, let's get naked. Let's get naked and really show what is there. What is the wounds that are still keeping me back? What did my mother do to me when I was 12 years old that I'm still replaying? And every time I connect with another woman, I experience the same feeling. What is that? I'm not living in the present. I'm still 12 years old. How am I going to be trusted with this great vision for humanity if I cannot be trusted with my own? If I cannot be trusted with just my own reality? And so it's so important that each of us as, entrepreneurs, or we don't even have to be entrepreneurs. We're entrepreneurs because that's how we're made, especially women. Like Jose said earlier, we're very good multitaskers. But because we raise our children, we cook our meals, we do all these different things. We do accounting, we are the cleaning lady. We do all these different things, yet now everything has become things that we do. And we have forgotten the love, the consciousness, and the light that these things are meant to be infused with. We're into faster. I have clients ask me all the time, do you have a magic pill I can take so I don't have to deal with this crap? You know, do you have a prayer that I can do so that I can manifest, $100,000 tomorrow? And the thing is that those things are so temporary, and we're missing the point. We're missing the point that it is actually the work that we put into it that develops our commitment and that develops our devotion to something greater. And so my invitation for you today is to really be honest with yourself about where you are, because your dishonesty serves no one, and especially not you. And the moment that you make that choice to be honest, your path will begin to unfold and your confusion will begin to dissipate. We cannot be available for others until we are available for ourselves.